How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
The following podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network.
This is PBA champion Kyle Troop, and you're listening to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. As you know, JP Jr. used to be introduced as the sexiest man in bowling, and now the world. But he doesn't have the best hair in the world. I do. Sorry, bud, but you know the deal. Pick it out. Fear the fro, baby.
Welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. A hard-hitting, in-depth, cutting-edge look into the world of bowling. This podcast will not only cover all things bowling, but will also give you a raw look into real-life issues. You'll get unfettered access into the mind of one of the most gifted bowlers of this or any other generation. So without further ado, let's introduce you to the hosts of the show. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Dr. Ocho. Dr. Ocho. And the incomparable Johnny Petraglia Jr. Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Hey guys, welcome back to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. I'm your host, Rad Rob, Rob Francois. It is episode number 86. We have a very special guest tonight. We will welcome PBA 50 star Ryan Shafer at the about the halfway mark at 30 minutes to the hour. But first, we have a lot to discuss from what happened last week. In order to do that, I need to bring in my co-host. He has the largest guns on this podcast, the shiniest mask in the world. The resident doctor of Straight Up 5, Mr. Dr. Tiberius Ocho Johnson III. Wow, look at that. Look at the gun.
No introduction needed. Let's get to the rest of the show.
Huge, bro. What's up, Oach?
No introduction needed.
There's Johnny.
Bring it in.
There's Johnny Jr. I haven't seen you in forever, Johnny. What's going on, brother?
Sir, I'm sorry for my neglecting of you this week. I hope everything is okay. With physically, you sent us something about the ankle, and I just want to make sure you're okay. Is everything good with you, Mr. Rad Rob? Tiberius Ocho?
My ankle hurts quite a bit, and since Ocho's a doctor, he understands high ankle sprains and how long they could take to heal. There's soft tissue damage. I can't even touch it. The doctor ran his thumb up my ankle, like just pushing like a deep tissue massage. I'd want to jump out of my fucking shoes. It was so bad. But,
which would have been the first time you've jumped in a long time. So think about that. This is purely from a medical perspective. Honestly, the only way to combat the high ankle sprain is to have a bi ankle sprain on the opposite side. So when you do that,
nice.
No, they're the long term ones. They're the 4 to 6 week one, like actually 6 to 8 week ones. Here's what happens: you roll your ankle, you get a little pop. That's just a regular ankle sprain. You're walking within a week. It hurts for a little bit, not too much. The high ankle sprain is when you actually kind of almost separate where the talus and the tibia kind of meet. You roll it and go forward, or you go inward. You supinate, extreme pronate. Extreme pronation football players have it all the time. Extreme pronation, they go to make a cut and they roll it inwards, and it jacks up where the tibia and the talus meet.
That's exactly what happened. No, you're exactly right. That's exactly what the doctor told me. So you're spot on when it comes to that there.
I actually got the report, and for some reason it smelled like Popeye's chicken, and I don't understand why.
How about the people shuffling in already? Look at all the comments already. How we doing?
Yeah,
They must
welcome,
have missed
everybody.
us. That's actually warming my heart right now. So good to see everybody.
Did they miss us, or are they here to see Ryan? I mean, let's be honest.
I mean, obviously. So they got to wait 30 minutes because we got to brag about something else first, since obviously I was incoherent and there was no way that I was going to be available last Wednesday, as everybody probably knows. First
you
off,
were coherent. You were just in a freaking world of glass case of emotion, really. Like you're watching the
big glass case of emotion. It's the pattern on the pants. So can we open up with that? The first thing I want to say, we're going to talk about the Waco Wonders, but the first thing we have to talk about is the performance of my old tour roommate, who's actually doing another podcast with Frank Snodgrass tonight. Can we talk about how many times Ryan Simonelli just
crushed it?
Would have knocked down 30 pins?
Did he? Yeah, no, seriously. Did he not? Did he not just bury every single shot? The Snodgrasses taste like Snodgrasses.
Snowsberries taste like Snowsberries.
That's what I was thinking of.
They're good.
No, it wasn't even like, oh yeah, little light, little mixer. They were insanely buried, where like the pins were falling before the ball got there, and all went in that direction. That direction.
That direction.
Okay. The thing for me to say, first off, hats off to the Waco Wonders, the team of Jason Sterner, Frank Snodgrass, BJ Moore, the legendary Parker Bone III, and obviously, in my eyes, the legend Ryan Simonelli. But
before you get too deep into it, Johnny,
go ahead.
I do want to play like a little highlight package of what happened, if you don't mind.
Yes, please do. Let's do it. Let's start with a highlight reel. Let's go.
Dalton Maldonado back at it.
Restart the next round. With a strike. Oh!
Caves in the 7-10.
Maldonado mauls him. Can the Terminator do it again? Simonelli to answer, has to have it. He's got it.
Yeah, that one looked really, really good, didn't it?
Ice in the veins of Simonelli. Tommy Jones steps up.
Oh my goodness.
7. Only 7. So Parker Bone III needs 8. We're doing. And end the dream of the strikers and Norm Duke. With a Hall of Fame chant, 8 to win. Got it! Parker Bone III, a strike. And the Waco Wonders advance to the championship match. Frame go by 36. PB3. Pin down again. Yes. Again. It's Waco's night.
Come on, man. That puts him in the high 250s with any mark from Simonelli. The best the Lumberjacks can shoot if they go off the sheet. 253.
And it's all over.
A strike, and they claim it.
Simonelli does it!
Done!
It's a strike for Ryan Simonelli. And the Waco Wonders are going to win the 2023 Elias Cup. What a shot for the closer. The Ryan Express finishes this match. It's a satisfying moment of the match, sponsored by Snickers. Nothing satisfies like a Snickers. How sweet it is for Ryan Simonelli.
If there's any question about who the MVP of this event is, there shouldn't be. It's him.
Celebration time for the Hall of Famers, Petraglia Bone III.
I can't tell you how nervous I was watching that entire match, Johnny. Like the week before, I was an idiot. I turned it off early when I thought it was over. I apparently forgot how to score bowling and missed Parker's game-winning shot. So I went to bed pissed that night until the next morning, and I found out they won, and they were going to the championship match. But, man, that whole championship match, I was on the edge of my seat until the last game. They just absolutely slaughtered them. But, man, Ryan, I said he was ice-cold killer, man. He really was.
And Ryan, with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, is unstoppable. Yeah. That little extra added boost of, oh, you don't think I'm good enough? Watch this shit. It's just, he's always been that way. He's always thrived with that kind of chip on his shoulder. I know I used that word twice, or that sentence twice, but the thing that I wanted to say about the Wonders was, from top to bottom, you want to talk about the classiest professionals that exist. I mean, obviously, there's so many classy bowlers in the world. I mean, obviously, I feel for Wes Malott. I feel for Kyle Troup. I mean, I love those guys dearly. Love Tommy Jones. I've never, ever seen Tommy Jones make a poor shot when he needed it. I mean, but those five guys, people always talk about in the bowling industry, like, what makes a champion. And when you look at the title match against the Lumberjacks, my dad said it best at the conclusion of that event. The team collectively never got less than 9. They never missed a spare. And that's what does it. The same reason Walter Ray Williams Jr. is one of the best bowlers we've ever seen, if not the best, arguably. Walter Ray leaves more 10 pins than anybody because Walter Ray very rarely gets less than 9, you know? And if you'd have told my dad and that entire team, look, you're going to go out today and you're never going to get less than 9 and you're never going to have an open, the odds would have been a hell of a lot different and certainly more in their favor. It was, for me, to be able to watch it with my friends. So my friends, I bowl Carolier on Tuesday nights. We got done just in time to watch that double roll-off that you just so graciously showed in the highlight reel. I got done just in time to watch it with all of my friends and family at Carolier, and then decided to take a very, very special person with me on Wednesday night to go and watch it in the cathedral that is Howell Lanes that houses Dad and Parker. So the best part about this entire thing for me, not having been in Portland for this, was the welcome back party. So back in 1994, when my dad bowled 300 on television in Toledo, it was the week before the Johnny Petraglia Open at Carolier. So at that time, they had the Touring Pro Wheelchair Vet doubles tournaments to start before the Celebrity Pro-Am for the JP Open. They halted that tournament so everybody can go into the bar and watch Dad bowl in the National Championship show, and sure enough, Dad bowls the $100,000 300. The welcome party that Dad got the following week was the greatest week of my life. March 5th through the 12th. That was when Dad was training Michael J. Fox for the movie Greedy. Michael was there. It was just the greatest. But on Monday nights, I bowl at Howell Lanes in New Jersey, which is the home of my dad and Parker both third.
And Ocho.
And Ocho, obviously. But this past Monday, my dad was subbing on 21 and 22. I was on 25 and 26. And Parker was subbing on 29 and 30.
Oh, wow.
So to hear the announcements and just watch everybody in the building, all they wanted to do was just... I'm getting it right now because, again, to me, like, to have Dad and Parker win something together with guys like BJ, Frank, and Ryan, it was one of the greatest weeks of my entire life to be able to watch those legends, those future legends, just defy the odds. It was so surreal. It was so amazing. I'm so sorry to all of our listeners that I told both Rob and Ocho that I didn't have the mental capacity to do a watch along. I didn't have the balls to try and sit here and pretend like I gave more shits about this show than I did that show.
Right.
And it's just, what else can you say? The Waco Wonders,
nobody would have been offended by that either. That's the other thing. Like, I don't think people probably understood that there's a major event live on national television. And, you know, it's very close to your heart. It's not like you're just a fan. You're clearly attached. So,
heck yeah.
I don't think anybody was too offended.
The greatest part about it was, real quick, Robbie, before you keep going, obviously everybody that either knows or doesn't know my late, great best man, Mike Marcus, the first thing Dad wanted to do was make sure that he brought home a Wonders jersey to donate to the Mike Marcus tournament. So one of those jerseys will be available for auction at Mike Marcus's tournament this year, and just wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
That's really cool that he's doing that. It's funny. Like, it's weird for me, like, knowing some of the guys that were on the show, and growing up watching Parker. Being a fellow lefty, him and your dad were like, heroes of mine. And it is different when you have a rooting interest, like a vested interest, not just like rooting for your team. Like, I'm a Patriots fan. It's Patriots win the Super Bowl. Like, oh yeah, cool, I'm happy. But like, I was legit nervous watching this because of our connection to the team. So for me, it was something I've never experienced before. And I was so happy, and I was jumping up and down as much as I could on my bad leg and screaming, and on vacation in Florida watching it. And I can't say enough good things about how well they all bowled and how they came together as a team, because it is a team effort. And, the 7th seed going all the way to the end and beating the 3-time defending champions.
And
it's unbelievable.
We've been, sucking on Ryan's what, and obviously Parker's, but I think that first off, real quick again, while we're on the Waco Wonders conversation here, the biggest thing for me was, first off, how about BJ Moore? I mean, going from resin, playing the bump of the urethane of the other two righties on the team, and then in the title match, taking out that pitch black and just acing every single shot. How about Frankie Snodgrass figuring out a way to get his emotions in check after the rough start, and then continue to mark the last 9 frames, 5 of them being strikes. And obviously, Jason Sterner, Flash, one of my favorite human beings on this earth, just acing every single shot that he possibly could. The entire team, it was just, it couldn't happen to a better batch of guys. And I know for a fact, my dad being one of the most nervous people in the entire world, to watch him and Parker's excitement, to watch that hug for me, those are my 2 idols, man. Watching those 2 guys hug it out after they've been together since the mid-'80s. I mean, it's like watching Homeward Bound and not crying,
Right,
it just doesn't happen, or Old Yeller for the older folk that are in here,
I believe everything happens for a reason. For whatever reason, it all came together, for that weekend. And with your dad and Parker's connection, being from the same area, knowing each other for so many years, it's just, you can't write it.
It's storyline, right?
It is. It's so compelling. It'd be a Disney moment for sure, like a Disney movie. Like, it's just, it's remarkable.
I want to say they did. That's what it should have been captured a little better, but they did a good job of it. Like, that's linking Parker with John. They said it every time. He's 60 years old, and he was the, this is with the suitor of the Johnny Petraglia was Parker.
And you can tell Randy was very, very happy for them too.
Yeah, and because Randy's a Johnny Petraglia mark too, for sure.
Well, Randy and my dad are close. They've always been close. My dad has always loved Randy, and Randy's always loved my dad.
Even when Randy broke his bed.
Yeah, that's
true story.
That's Randy favorites. I mean,
didn't he do a Macho Man drop or something?
He gave me a flying elbow and he snapped my bed in half. And then he blamed it on Ron Palumbi. But
I love that story.
As my mom was scolding all 3 of us for being late for dinner downstairs, but that's a whole nother story.
That's what it's the tie. Now, of course, they can't drag everything, but like the story is so there that you're right. It's a Disney Pixar movie, just flat out.
Heck yeah, it was. Congrats to the Waco Wonders. Congrats to the Portland Lumberjacks for almost 4-peating. I think they won 3 consecutive. Yep. The only thing that I kind of wish was, because I love West Malott like there's no tomorrow. I wish that he would have performed a little bit better. I would have liked to have seen maybe a Game 4, not necessarily a Game 5 with a roll-off in the title match, but I wanted to see a little bit more of the king of bowling, Wes Malott.
I actually I have a question about that. Now, do you think he had the wrong ball? Do you think he just sailed it wide too many times? And he had a bunch of 2-8-10s, I think I remember. Is that something he tightened up the line? He got a different – because this is the shit I really don't know, but I'm curious.
In my honest opinion, Wes didn't look as healthy as he normally does. He looks like he was fighting
lethargic
some kind of a physical ailment, or he looked like it was a lot more upper body.
That's true. That's true. He's very bent over and lets his legs do the work and pops it off.
We talk about this frequently. I mean, we always talk on the show about how most really, really awesome bowlers are smaller guys. Pete Weber, Norm Duke, E.J. Tackett, Bob Lerm, Steve Hoskins. I'm giving you all the guys that are like under 5'8", right? So for somebody like Wes, who's always been a little bit forward at the line with his upper body, you would think, Wes is pushing 50. He's not quite there yet, but he's closer to 50 than he is to 40. I would think at some point, a man that's that tall, I mean, what is he, 6'4"? 6'4",
that's a full different center of gravity. That's a full different fulcrum. That's a full different mechanical style.
There's got to come a point where eventually the legs can't handle what's on top, and I'm experiencing it as a no thumb bowler because I'm very forward. I'm only 39, but I'm very top heavy. I have a big upper half and a really, really small lower half. Pretty much 6 feet flat. Okay. But
I'm 6'7", so I don't understand this.
Right, of course. Exactly. Yes, you do. But I think that Wes was kind of fighting maybe himself for a little while. I was also a little bit confused with how great of a coach Tim Mack is.
Oh, yes.
That he left Wes in the 10th frame for all 3 games. I do get it. You stick with what's been working.
Still the guy, yeah.
But Tim's the kind of guy that's not afraid to shake shit, to move shit around, And I was just kind of shocked that Graham Fa never missed.
He was amazing.
Neither did Kyle. I mean, they were just sensational, and
Arturo was amazing too.
Arturo bowled great. Prater, a couple bad shots, couple ring 10s in key positions in that title match.
It's funny. It looked like he just never got warmed up. Almost, I feel like it's like he was torn between whether the shot he wanted to throw or he didn't get it. Just I feel like if that was a 10 frame match and he was bowling, he would have figured it out and done. But it was a weird
I feel like he checked out of it mentally early with the split.
I feel like lethargic and just through the motions. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say.
Or he was nervous. I mean, I don't know.
He looks like that though. That's just it. He looks like that normally.
Totally.
It just seemed like this is why I wish I did know bowling.
It's gotta be
I saw
physical,
something,
man.
but I can't pinpoint what it was.
It's got to be
what was it?
And real quick, while we're here, just because I'm sorry for neglecting everybody in the chat so far, but I have to give a massive shout out to my good friend Carlton Sebo. It was a pleasure watching you in the LBC, my friend.
It's not on you.
I hope I get to see you soon, dude. I miss you so much. And I know that you wish you'd have bowled better on there, but you did beat out a shit ton of people just to make it that far. And kudos to Sebo. Chambers, love you, brother. It was awesome, awesome. Cheeks is back. Hello, Cheeks.
My favorite name.
Yes, it is.
Are we close to
we're only a few minutes away.
5 minutes away. Good.
We are.
Let you guys bullshit for 5 minutes just so I can use the restroom before our very special guest shows up. So I'll be right back.
Commercial break, Rob. You were about to say something, so I'll take it. Bounce it off Ocho. We got this.
Yeah, hold that thought.
You're going to ask me a serious question?
No, not at all.
Well,
victory. Shaker. Well, you got to feel good for Ryan Shafer.
There it is. Congratulations to Ryan Shafer. Shafer is the winner here in Las Vegas.
And for the second time, he will come from the number 1 seed to post the victory. Winner. And we have our winner. Ryan Shafer
was the top seed in Vegas and won. He was the top seed in Wichita, and he will win.
Solid 9, so what?
Pressure is building on Jeff Lizzie. And his wife looks like, I think it's a lot harder on her.
Oh, yeah, they're 100 times more nervous than Jeff is, I guarantee you.
He needs a strike. Plain and simple.
Looked like he got just a little soft. But what a great finish. Carries that solid 9. It's a whole different game.
He defends his title in Las Vegas and keeps his record perfect as the top seed. We'll talk to Ryan after this.
Does he have the answer?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show the incomparable PBA 50 star Ryan Shafer. Good evening, Ryan. Thank you for hanging out in the green room, brother. Good to have you on the show. Welcome to Straight Up 5.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You've had quite the career
Johnny's gonna be back
in the
in 1
PBA,
second,
and you're still going strong. How you feeling nowadays?
Yeah, the funny thing is, my time on the regular tour, I barely had any injuries. As soon as I turned 50, everything started to go to shit. I had plantar fasciitis really bad in my foot. I broke my foot. I had carpal tunnel really bad. I got arthritis bad in my right knee, so I got cortisone shots. This last season was probably the healthiest I've been. And I bowled pretty good. I just couldn't beat Barnes and Angelo and Hess and Troy Lint. So, but
you're a medical chart for every bowler injury. Basically, you're listing pretty much every single bowling injury besides tennis elbow. You've hit them all: the plantar fasciitis, the carpal tunnel. Soon there's going to be a little bursa injury in the shoulder. I don't want it, but these are the exact bowler injuries because of the mechanics of bowling.
Yeah. Like I said, it was the oddest thing. I was almost completely healthy my entire career, and then I've never.
The oddest thing is that you made it through that far.
Right.
Usually people get them at 30 and 40 because you bowled for so many years. Like, you're actually a testament to time because most of this stuff happens way before 50. So knock wood on that. But I guess now you're feeling what a lot of guys felt 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty lucky because I don't think the way I throw it lends itself to being healthy. A little guy that raises up at the line and everything, but
rips through it.
Yeah.
Watching a highlighted
you're
package,
doing so right though, because there's a thing for balance too. There's a thing for stability, and because let's be honest, bowling is not mechanically sound anyway. I always say if you threw 2 bowling balls at once, you're balanced. You're better off. But the fact that you have a giant rock in one hand, and then you have to figure out a way to do it the least traumatic on your body, you must have figured out a way, even though you were, like you said, you ripped through it, you mechanically sound. You must have done something right because your body was always in balance, because those injuries are going to happen regardless when you have to bowl that rigorous of a schedule. And to be able to get through that's pretty damn impressive. That should be put that on a shirt or something like that. That's got to be like I made it to 50 before I started breaking down.
Yeah, we used to do this thing with Storm. When I was with Storm, we did Storm University, and we would teach people the mechanics of bowling and go through everything, like lane play, fundamentals, everything. And Jeff Carter would actually have me on the video for having really good timing. And he was funny. He'd say, watch it until right at the end. He says, don't watch that part. He goes,
the last 0.04 seconds. That's
right. So I would sit there and laugh because it was funny. Yeah.
For a small guy, man, you still crank the ball. I mean, you got a lot of revs, even back then in the day. What do you attribute to that? I mean, there's not a lot of crankers back in your day, but you seem to have a different release than everybody else.
Yeah, I obviously, like the kids today want to be Jason Belmonte. I wanted to be Mark Roth.
Sure.
Mark was my guy. Loved Mark Roth. It was unbelievable getting to bowl against him and eventually become friends with him. But I wanted to be him, so that's the only way I could do it was to get up on my toes and try to throw it like him.
Johnny, you want to jump in, brother?
I don't want to. I want to intercept. First off, what an absolute honor it is to have you here, Ryan. Number one, thank you so much for
thank you
dealing with my 3 a.m. message last night or whatever time it was. I do work graveyard, so I'm sorry for that. But I do want to brag about two distinct memories that I have of you that I've actually never shared with you before. That makes me so much to you. The first is, I believe it was 1999, the Tournament of Champions, when you guys were bowling on 50 feet or something really long. It was the first year of Jason Couch's three-peat with the 1 year in the middle that they didn't have the TSC. And I remember Dave Houston was throwing a rock star in the first game. Doug Kent was on that show throwing a V2. And you came in on a pattern that nobody could make the ball tip at all down lane. And you actually not only got the ball to tip, but you got the ball to make motion down lane. And I remember saying to my dad, at that time I was 14 going on 15, and I said, I want my bowling ball to do that. I want my ball to do that. Because it made no sense to me. I think you were throwing a matrix, or one of the matrix.
Matrix I? Is that plural for matrices?
You'd have to ask. Matri?
Matri.
One of the matri. So that was my first memory where I want to throw it like this guy. And the second one was I've been off and on bowling regionals, tour events for my entire life. Never really committed my entire life the way Ryan has. But for me, there was one regional, I don't remember where we were. It was someplace either in New York or New Hampshire or someplace like that. On my first match, I was throwing a rubber LT 48. And I had to bowl Ryan in a best-of-3 match, my first match. Do you remember that, Ryan?
Yeah,
Wood center, wood approaches. And he absolutely kicked the living shit out of me. And I was so nervous the whole night. I'm like, of all the fucking people, excuse my French, that I could have bowled, in my first round in the regional finals, I got to bowl one of my idols, one of my favorite people on this planet. And just the respect you have for bowlers, the respect you have for the game, your dedication to thoughts and views on the sport, and the things that you have contributed to the sport is the main reason I wanted you on the show tonight. Because I genuinely love you to death. And so, yeah, my two distinct memories amongst the one of only 3 people with multiple televised 300s. I remember watching your first one, throwing that fired up. I was in Florida at my grandmother's house at the time with my ex-wife, Andrea. And it was just, it's just an absolute honor to have you here tonight. And so thank you so much for being here. And obviously the viewers that are here tonight all feel pretty much the exact same way that I do, as well as these two guys. So I wanted to just take a minute and tell you that to start. So it's great to see you.
That. I'll correct you on a couple of things. It was the 2000 TSC.
Please do.
Because that was the first year I was eligible because I won in 2000. So that was the first chance. And I was actually throwing a Puma. with surface. It looked like a silver matrix because it had a little surface on it, but it was a Puma. Yeah.
Thank you for correcting both of those for me.
Watching that highlight package.
Before we started,
God, Ocho, that's the second time you cut me off, dude.
No. So before Johnny got here, we were talking about Rob asked about his health, and the guy makes it through the entire time of his regular PBA tour, relatively unscathed as far as injuries. And he mentions he turns 50, he hits the PBA 50 circuit, and he has basically all the basic bowler. I don't want to say basic because they hurt. But his injury. But the fact that what we're saying is it was a testament to you went through bowling 48 games a week for 20-something years, injury-free. And what he said was, mechanically, I guess I'm okay, but I do pop at the top, and I'm coming out of it, and like, it's not so – you'd think I'd have a few more, but I don't know, man. Again, he's doing something right. So put his image on one of your hologram things and show it to the people, because it's not a fluke that you make it through, 25, 30-plus years before the injuries do start. So that was another homage again, just to bring him up to speed.
Thank you for that. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Ryan, let me ask you a question before we questions from either the crowd, Rob, or Ocho.
Sure.
There are certain people that rise to the occasion in different situations, and you give me the number. You have made the top 5 or bowled for the title, and I believe 15 majors throughout your career.
It's actually it's 15 on TV, but I actually have 3 more top 5s where they only took 4 for the show. So I have 18 top 5s. Yeah.
Damn. So we'll call it it's 18. So my question to you is this: like, contrary to say a Brooks Koepka in golf, who just says that every tournament's the same tournament and this and that, and he's nonchalant, you have figured out a way throughout your career that every time you go to a major, not only are you in contention, you're one of the favorites. So what happens with the mindset for you? Not taking anything away from like a regular tournament, but what happens in your brain, in your thought process, in your prep when it comes to a major to make you that successful?
It's changed a little bit just because the environment's changed. The bowling balls have changed. The lane conditions have changed with 2-handers and the higher rev guys. But back then, it was throw it at the 3-pin, let it tip, try to strike, and if you don't, pick your spare. Try not to split. But I think one of my biggest attributes was crossing a house. When we used to bowl at Carolier at the U.S. Open, I threw 2 balls on a pair consistently. I'd go across that house, and one ball would have an extra hole and one ball would not. And then I'd get to the higher end or the lower end, whatever you want to call it, downstairs, and I would get to a pair and I'd flip the balls. And the people watching me would say, how'd you know to do that? And I said, because I know the bowling center. So I was ahead of the game. I was ahead of the game. So
how do you even
just paying attention and knowing how to cross the center helped me a lot. It kept me away from 160. Throwing a 160, it got me 180 or 190 if I had a bad game. I think that was the biggest thing.
That's next level shit right there.
But the mindset is also to stay in play right from the get-go. It's stay in play, eliminate big mistakes, nothing stupid. And,
Johnny, your dad was a big component of that.
Absolutely. But I want to go back to the first thing Ryan said for some of our viewers that may not understand what he's talking about here. And please, when Ryan said he was aiming at the 3-pin, in my eyes, as a lefty, I'm typically aiming at the 2-pin. And the whole goal with that is to make sure you, A, never ever cut one off, and B, even if you miss, it's got a chance to get 9.
Right. You can mix them up to right.
You're avoiding the bounce, the runaway Brooklyns, all that garbage that leads to designs that we just don't want to shoot at. Is that right, Ryan? Is that kind of
basically.
Yeah.
Basically, just keep the ball. I don't like to say keep the ball in play because I'm still aggressive, but I just funneled it kind of. I kind of tried to tube it, just not let the ball get too much away from you, and that's where the game's changed now because the balls flare a lot more, and the way lanes are conditioned. You got to give the 3-pin away, and it brings the 2-8-10 into play.
Yep.
I mean, guys like EJ Tackett don't bowl in fear of the 2-8-10. I mean, they just don't. They get up and rip it. They might leave one every once in a while, but they don't live in fear of it. When I bowl against those guys now, I live in fear of the 2-8-10. and I did back then, but I could do something about it. Now it's not quite that way,
I mean,
so
now
on the intro that Rob posted, there was a shot that you bowled on the gold pins, and it looked like you were standing way left, and you only threw it just at the 1-3 pocket from way left, and I think that's exactly what you're talking about, where it faced at the end. It was a good mixer. I think the 5 pin went down last. Is that something that you're talking about when you say aim at the 3 pin?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and that's a shot you don't see nowadays, like you said, with Tackett and the two-handers revving the hell out of it. So that was just something.
Fallback doesn't really exist anymore. Yeah, that's fallback.
Yeah.
Fallback really doesn't exist anymore.
Johnny's dad always said when he was in qualifying, they have so many games that they have to go through, and he was a big guy, a big proponent for just trying to hit 9, trying to make 9. Just don't be too aggressive. Try to hit your mark every time, but just make sure you get it in the pocket where you don't make a lot of mistakes. At least you leave 9. And then when you make it to match play and the step ladder, that's when you go all out and get crazy and try to do different things. But that's another thing that I think, I don't want to say players lack discipline nowadays, but you are right. The conditions are different. The equipment is different. It's not as easy to do that anymore. How many guys do we see with 500 revs hit the pocket and leave a blower 710 now? Like it's a completely different game than what it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. In life, I'm not a very patient person. I get pissed off when I drive. I get pissed off at technology.
Neither are we.
Yeah. I get, I'm not patient at all. When I bowl, I'm one of the most patient people you'll see. I use up all my patience bowling. That's about it.
Bowling has absorbed all your patience that every other aspect of life. The microwave is too damn slow. The faucet don't come on fast enough. God dang it, I got to wash this cup. Where's the Keurig? I got to make my coffee, but I'm going bowling. I got to use it all for that.
Hell yeah.
Yep,
Hell yeah.
that's about right.
Beautiful. That is so beautiful.
And that's always been so successful. 34 regional titles. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And then to have your 5 tour wins is a special thing.
I hear about how many seconds he's got in the regionals.
No shit, right? Yeah. I mean, it's just the testament to how great you bowled. And a lot of people say, even your top pros, I think even Randy said at one point, like they consider you the most underrated, PBA bowler of all time, given your talent.
I appreciate that. I like to say I've defied probability and statistics because, I made 56 shows in my career and I only got 5 titles. I mean, that's pretty hard to do. You think you're going to win more than that if you make 56 shows. But if you look back at those shows, you're
going up against a murderer's row of people.
We're bowling in the greatest generation of bowlers. I mean, we caught the back end of like your dad and Roth and Holman, and then we got Weber and Parker. I could go on and name guys. Greatest generation of bowlers ever. And it seemed like every time I was on a show, I got Duke, Walter Ray, or Weber, or Couch or Tommy Jones, or 2 of them. If I get by one, I got another one. So totally. No excuses. I mean, you got to beat who's in front of you. But most of the time, I lost to one of the greatest of all time. I've lost 6 title matches
because you were always in the mix with them.
Right. I mean, when they bowled good, I bowled good.
You were always right there.
Yeah.
If they had a Mr.
If you had to pick one moment in your bowling career that stands out above all of the rest, what would it be?
That's tough because you want to be a positive. You want to be positive. I mean, I
want you to tell me honestly what your number one memory in your brain is. I don't give a shit if it's positive, negative, this way, that way, it doesn't matter.
Something clearly shaped you, obviously, so I think that's where he's going at. That's good.
I mean, my first title, obviously, throwing 300 on TV the first time because I high flushed it. My favorite moment probably was winning in Latham. I needed a strike to beat Barnes, and my mom and my late wife were there because it was close to home. Was that a
shot trauma?
No, that was a deuce. That was a deuce.
Oh, it was a deuce.
X Factor deuce. X Factor deuce.
The blueberry fragrance.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And I mean, so I beat Weber, Jaros, and Barnes on that show. And people
With
from home were there.
with family in tow right there too.
Yeah. I mean, that was pretty
amazing.
special. That was pretty special.
Yeah, I think
watching a highlight
that's what
video,
makes
you could.
a special person.
Sorry, John. Watching a highlight video, you can see how pumped up you were to win there. I mean, that was obviously
That was
a
the
special
one,
moment.
right.
Yeah,
and that was a long time between wins too. Was it something like 12 years or something between your last win?
No, that one was the one in Latham. It was 2 years. The one I won in Delaware was 12 years.
Okay. I'm sorry, I got that mixed up.
The one in
research, Rob.
The one in Latham was when we were bowling for exemptions, when you had to be in the top 50 or you had to win to be exempt.
Gotcha.
And up to that point, I was not having a good year. So that also made it very important because at the time you thought if you weren't exempt, you weren't going to have a career. So to be able to win at that time.
Oh, that's true. This was the exemption period.
Yeah.
Ryan, I was having this argument with my dad earlier. How many times did you win the Steve Award?
Twice.
I won twice.
I said two. Twice. Dad said 3.
No, I won twice. I got a funny story about.
Tell Dad he's a loser.
I got a funny story about the first time I won the Steve Nagy Award. Sometimes guys would make a joke out of it, and like they used to nominate Bill Oakes and get him on the ballot and things like that. Just guys that had piss poor temper, and But so the first time I won, what they do is they have people send in their pick, and then they break it down to the top 5. So when it got down to top 5, I was on the list. So I'm like, man, I really want to win this award. So I started messaging people and saying, hey, I said, you got to vote for me for Steve Nagy Award. And everybody's like, I'm not going to fucking vote for you. We're not voting for you. And I said, listen, I said, don't you want to have Tom Clark have to hand me that award? And they're like, yeah, I do. Okay, I'm voting for you. So my first one, I got to the top 5 on my own. Second one, I think, was legitimate. The first one, I kind of lobbied for. But the second one, I think, was legitimate.
That's good shit, man.
That's hilarious. That's something I didn't know. That's a really funny story. Winning back-to-back years in Vegas, that had to be pretty special for you as well. What was it about that place that you liked?
I don't know, because the year before we bowled the Cambridge doubles, and I bowled with Alita Sill. It used to be they matched up the top woman with the top guy, and then 2 with 2, 3 with 3. So I was actually third in points, so I bowled with Alita Sill, one of the greatest women bowlers of all time. And she just ran him over, and I couldn't throw a strike in that building. I couldn't. I mean, I felt terrible. And she's like, every shot she says to me, what do you think I should do? And I said, Alita, you're Alita Sill. Just keep doing what you're doing. I don't know why you want me to tell you what to do. I can't throw a strike, And then we went there the next year, and I'm like, man, I don't like this place. And then I won 2 years in a row. So I don't know what the hell happened. But it was totally different the second time around there for me.
Ryan, who was your bowling idol? Who made you want to become a bowler?
Mark Roth and Marshall Holman were the guys for me. I used to turn on the TV on Saturday like we all did, and because back then you didn't know who was going to be on, and you wait for them to show the top 5 guys. And when it was all straight guys, I turned it off. You get the Art Trask, Don Janello, and it ended up when I went out on tour, I felt bad because I ended up liking those guys a lot. But
of course. I mean, I like Scott Devers and Mike Scroggins, but I fast forward that match.
But what was funny is if you remember, like the ball would hook about 3 boards, and they'd be like, "The ball hooked out of the house," and you're like, "Oh my God, Mark Roth just turned that ball like 5 boards. That's crazy." And you're like, but it hooked and it drove and it revved. It was when they hit it. Even Holman would he a big slide, right? He was the guy with the big slide. But he was surfing down, but he would pop at it, and it would. Man, these balls hit like 20-pound bowling balls. It was a different sight.
Totally.
Yeah. But even Pete Weber, I mean, Pete's only a couple years older than me, but, I still loved watching him bowl because he was making shows when he was very young. So
I say it on this show all the time. want to talk about somebody that stood the test of time. I mean, 10 titles with plastic, 10 with urethane, 10 with resin, and just the most beautiful adaptation to the evolution of the sport that I personally have ever seen. I have nothing but respect.
Did he
for
kind of start the high back swing? I know Amleto had this outside swing, but like Pete was. And I'm an amateur, Brian, like a big time amateur. So like I'm a house bowler, and I bowl once a week, and I have bowling balls that were given to me. So, but I do want to watch it. So I'm wondering if is that like the was he the first high back guy, or
I don't know. I'd say maybe Roth was.
But Roth was
Roth
under
was
his
kind of
toe,
high.
though. Like,
Roth was pretty
there any-
high.
but he kind of stayed like cupped the whole time, whereas Pete was like out with the ball out, like
He wasn't afraid to open it and close it at the top.
Yeah.
like the first guy to kind of come like, or I think, and I kind of think, I don't know.
Yeah. So Ryan, I always ask every guest we have on this show this very question, and half the time everybody says to me, it's all dependent on the era you're in, the generation you're in, and all that shit. But my main question for you is, do you have a favorite bowling ball of all time?
There would be two that I would list: the black turbo with the orange writing,
With the orange, not the white writing.
right? The orange,
I
and
still have one blank, by the way, 16 pounds, just in case you're interested.
really,
I
and
do. From the
I
late
love-
great Terry Leon, God rest his soul.
wow, and I love the Victory Road Pearl.
That every time I am close to that ball, it makes me want a stack of pancakes. That was one of their
Definitely had that-
best
definitely had that
fragrances
sound.
ever.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, good shit.
Ryan, what was up with Marshall having like a huge streak of not making shows? I mean, he had a long time between making television appearances, and he's, we know how great he was. You ever talk to him about what was going on, or what were you noticing during that time?
with Holman.
Yeah.
I just think the game changed, and being completely honest, from what I know, he didn't want to work at it. It came so naturally to him his whole life that when he actually had to change some things and work at it, he wanted to play golf. I mean, he didn't want to bowl. He'd done what he'd done. He didn't feel the need to change. He said, "Why should I have to change? I'm Marshall Holman," and there's something to be said for that. There's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
No, God bless him, because
I'm gonna add a name to that list, because I'm 39 now. The other name I'll add to that list of the evolution of the game is my dad. My dad won 14 national titles between 1971 and 1980. And then my dad made a show at Bradley Bowl in Windsor Locks, Rob's Home Center, in the early 90s. And then he made a show at the age of 47 in 1994 in Toledo. And then he won the doubles title with Jason Hurd in 2000 or 1999. But
he also had that thing with Bob Lerner. Don't gloss over that one.
And made the show. I'm sorry. And he made the show at the record-breaking 11:29. I'm sorry.
Good job, Ocho.
Yeah.
Please don't.
I forgot about that one.
Don't hit me.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Don't hit me. It just swelled up. He
No,
just
but
swelled it up.
my dad is used to seeing at the peak of his greatness. He's used to seeing his ball do a certain thing, and when the game changed, I mean, Dad would first want to tell you in the 70s, he always wanted to be off the gutter, but he had to be forced to the gutter. His brain was a little bit different then. Once he had to start going this way, now Dad doesn't really know how to go back.
He loved it. That was his comfort.
So when you're refusing something, the same way Marshall made the show at Thunderbolt when he was throwing that Red Pulse and he won, and he said, "I'm back, baby." Like, you catch your week here and there, just like we all do. But if your brain isn't like a Ryan Shafer's or a Walter Ray's or a Pete Weber's, where, okay, this is what the game is presenting itself now. Everybody throws urethane nowadays, so I either have to learn how to throw urethane or play the breakdown of the urethane.
You do what it dictates rather than you
Right.
saying, "I'm going to force what I know," because obviously that doesn't work in this game.
And my dad was always very closed-minded like that. I would assume similar to what Ryan's saying about Marshall. So
Yeah,
I do
think so.
understand that from firsthand experience.
But I also think that a guy, like you said, a guy like your dad, a guy like Marshall, when they got there, they didn't forget how to win. And that is what made them who they are.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, I can't argue with that at all.
My dad always used to tell me when I was in a pressure-packed situation, I asked them, if anybody's ever curious, go back and watch the 94 National Championship. Go to the 10th frame when Dad's on the front nine. You can see himself mumbling something to himself on all three shots. And when he came home, I asked him what he was mumbling to himself, and he said two things. 3 more shots to college, meaning if I do this, both of my kids can go to college. And the second one was, I already know I threw a strike. I already know what it's going to look like, and I'm good enough to handle the pressure. So no matter how much I'm shaking or what I'm doing, I know that I need a little extra knee bend at the foul line. I know the last time I was in this situation, I yanked it. It went through the nose. And it was just these crazy, like, positive reinforcement thoughts, but in the same respect, like, forcing himself to feel the way Ryan Simonelli did at the PBA League last week. Just like...
If you want to see that, go to our archive where we did a watch-along with Johnny Petraglia.
Absolutely.
And we watched him do his 300. He did a watch-along explaining what he thought in the very first frame, saying, I'm going against Walter, so I got to figure he's going to get 2 or 3 10-pin wraps. And it was the most amazing thought process that, especially an amateur like me, would never, ever understand.
It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy.
It is.
On Straight Up 5 podcast on YouTube and on Facebook and even the audio version. But it's such a great watch.
Yeah, it is. And like me, all I want to do is like walk to the beat of my favorite song to keep myself in time. Mm-hmm. I'm not thinking about how many times this guy is going to miss or this and that. And I'm assuming you have something like that in your own game.
I got a song in my head a lot of the time, but it's funny listening to you talk about your dad going for 300 because when I was going for 300 the first time, I was throwing it pretty straight for me. You know, I was kind of playing my C game and taking my hand out of it. So on the 12th shot, you know what my thought process was? Because I'm a really positive guy. My thought process was, don't miss the head pin. Don't chunk it. Miss the head pin.
But that's keeping it simple, though. That's literally
I know, but I mean,
awesome.
Most people say, okay, just stay down, whatever. Make sure you go through. I'm thinking, don't miss the head pin because that's the worst. And then you can see my reaction. I let it go, and if you watch it, you can see my reaction. It's like, ooh, that's online. I was like shocked. It was amazing.
Hell yeah, man. That's
and you
awesome.
said you flushed it too, right? Like you were saying before. You said you better. Okay, that's good. Did you have to give a little more than you thought you were gonna? Like, did you kind of goose it a little bit because you got too jazzed up, or
did you
probably keep your hand out of it?
I probably got it in the air a little bit more, just a little bit.
Could have been a 4-pin. Gordon, no, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding.
I'm glad you brought that up. That was going to be my question of what was going through your mind, during that 10th frame. But it had to be just a special moment because, I mean, although it was the 19th, you got to think of how many shows they've had. In 50 years of bowling or whatever, and it's only done so few times. So, it had to be really special. That'd be a special moment for you.
Yeah, it was. And everybody says, would you rather have won that tournament or shot 300? I said, shoot 300 all day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's legendary. That's going to be the replay when they show the top 30-something. There's hundreds of winners, which you have. There's only a certain amount of people that threw to 300.
Hell yeah.
Hell, should have thrown a 292.
Anybody in chat?
Freaking really good.
Anybody in chat have any questions for Ryan?
Yes, I was going to say we're at our 1 hour mark.
Where is our chat? Did we?
If there's anybody else that has any good questions in there that wants to ask, and our show for the night, pop in, let us know. Or Rob, you got him? We can't see him for some reason.
Where's our chat, Rob?
Well, I had it off screen so they could see
Which
Ryan
is okay.
better. But
the best 30 minutes of Ryan. This has been awesome.
Let them enjoy. Let them earn Ryan Shafer. No, don't bring him in.
let me ask Ryan one more question, and then I'll actually. There's Dell. Dell, we love you, brother. Yeah.
How lucky are we to have so many tournaments to bowl around here, right? Yeah. There are a lot of tournaments to bowl around there, Ryan, for sure.
Yeah. No doubt about it.
Every day.
Troy Litt's also in the house.
Dell's more closer to Mass.
Okay.
Yes,
he
is.
But
Troy's
another great bowling friend, you know.
Troy Litt's in the house, and I know he's special to you, Ryan.
There you go. There you go.
What can you say about Troy and the amazing year that he had this year?
I can just tell you.
I'm going to cut off Ryan real quick. 1 second. Troy, I'm going to say this first. Nobody is more deserving than you to represent this country, bro. Congrats on Team USA, my friend.
Yes, absolutely.
Correct.
And do not wear a Steeler jersey because we suck
No
so bad.
Steelers jerseys.
Dude, do not wear it. And I'm so. And it
That
better not
came
be a
from
Kenny
me.
Pickett jersey.
That came from me. Because we both doubled.
It's a
to
beautiful
Delaware.
jersey, and I love that he rocks Troy Polamalu's number.
That's my guy.
Which I have a very, very emotional tie with the number 43. And Troy Polamalu is one of my favorites ever. But with all due respect, just rocking Team USA, brother. Love it.
Yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely. I bet Troy, if you show up with a Greg Lloyd jersey, I'm in, buddy. Get a 95 Greg Lloyd old school.
Get a bus jersey.
Or Bettis. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Or O'Donnell.
Go get a Cordell Stewart number 10. Are you crazy? He did get us to the NC Championship game twice, loser. Anyway, do what you got.
Getting back to the question at hand, Ryan, what could you say about Troy and his amazing year this year?
Well, I can tell you right now, I don't like rooming with anybody. I will prefer to room by myself. But I roomed with Troy this year, and he's the best. A lot of good discussions about the game. I learned a lot about the game, and I think he learned a lot about the game from me. And it was unbelievable watching him bowl. People think it's about one ball. It's not about the ball. He's the guy. I mean, he's throwing that ball because the lane's asking him to throw it.
It ain't the arrow, it's the Indian.
Yeah, and to lead all those majors and to bowl all those games with the knee problem he had, unbelievable. What a very strong constitution that guy has.
Damn right, man.
Just
very,
unbelievable.
very strong brain.
Yep.
Just a great man. He's a great man.
And you don't find a better person than him either because he's very realistic. He can be hard on himself.
Yeah.
But he's always striving to work harder.
Well, I will speak on your behalf, Ryan. He credits a lot of his success not only to his life changes, but to you. And I know that for a fact because I know you, and now everybody else in the chat knows. Two wonderful people between you and Troy, and Troy kicks some ass at Team USA this year, brother.
Yeah,
that's some good shit right there. Let's take Brandon's, and then we'll go because we did say 1 hour tonight.
Yeah, we did.
Let's take Brandon's question for Ryan because I really, really do like this one.
Do you think that not allowing a weight hole has changed ball motion?
You know what? I was very upset when they passed that rule because I utilized a weight hole as much as anybody.
Me too.
And of course, it has changed ball motion, but I think if you look at it the right way, there's a lot more asymmetric balls that are out now, and you can use the dual angle drillings, and you can use that 3 ounces side weight rule to get that mass bias out by your VAL, and you can kind of create the same motion you could with a weight hole. I won't say it's the exact same motion, but it's pretty close for me, and it makes it so that I don't even think about that rule anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
Ryan, I have one question real quick.
Go ahead.
Real quick. What the fuck did you just say? For an amateur.
That's pro shop talk.
I'm on.
Can you?
I think I'm trying. Does it mean that they've changed the cores a little bit to have the 3 ounces of penis on one side? Whatever the hell he was saying. Damn it! What was he saying?
Yeah, I just think
so instead of doing the weight hole, the core is actually shaped a little different to combat that. I think.
There's a lot more asymmetric balls, and you can utilize different drilling methods to take advantage of it. simple.
I'm not joking. I really don't know. I probably.
No, he really didn't know.
I'm a physics
No.
major too, so this is really
Right.
tripping me out.
Johnny does it all the time. We have to have him dumb it down for a lot of us.
We
So,
reel it back in because sometimes there's people in here that just like the idiocy of the show, and then we bring a pro on who, and then so we try and just and I still kind of had it. So, but the what the fuck was for theatrical purposes. So I do appreciate that, and that's so it changed it. But now even bowling technology is going to combat that old hole drilling to at least help to create that motion again. But then you still got to get that right ball, and I guess you got to.
Rob, put Sonny's comment up, please.
I will. Just let you know, Ryan, I still rock the original Rhino Pro, Teal Rhino Pro, and the Forest Green Quantum, and they both have weight holes, and I can't use them in league, so I'm pretty pissed off.
He also has a swamp monster, but he won't tell you about that one.
A swamp monster, yeah.
Rob has a weight hole himself, actually.
Sonny Weiland says, just appreciate Ryan and all that he does. A great Samaritan and friend to his fellow bowlers and tournaments as well. And congrats to Troy. Thanks, guys, for sharing your insights.
Thanks.
And that's one of the best people I know, so that's why I wanted you to put up Sonny's comment. I'm assuming Ryan feels the exact same way about Sonny.
I do. Yep.
Okay.
Well, Ryan, I'd love to have you on again because there's so much more we can break down about your career and all that and kind of get into your backstory. But we do appreciate having you on tonight. And it's always a blast to meet guys that I used to watch on TV growing up as a teenager. So I can't say enough great things about you and your career and for sharing your time tonight. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. I appreciate you guys asking. And anytime you want me to do it, I'm willing.
Sounds great, brother. And thank you so much. You're the best. You've always been the best, and admire you more than I've ever told you. So love you, bro.
Thanks, John. We'll see you guys.
All right. Thanks, Ryan.
Sure.
All right, guys. That wraps it up for another amazing edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. and the Ocho. And, well, me too. Great insight. A lot of stories that I never heard. I love that Marshall Holman story, too, about not giving a shit and just going to play golf. That's something I never knew. Ocho, seriously?
I didn't do that. Oh,
saved. Don't drive.
Hey, the Red Sox didn't make the playoffs this year, but at least the Yankees didn't either. So that makes me happy.
Even Steven, buddy.
It is. But anyways.
Rob, where's our Twitter and where's our podcast found?
In the filter.
That's a long-running joke that we've always had. You can listen to our audio version of this podcast. All 85 past episodes, including this one, drops every Friday on all major podcast apps, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Apple, iTunes, Google Radio, India TV. We're everywhere. We're literally everywhere. Right, Ocho? I mean, like, literally anywhere podcasts are found, right?
Suck it, Trebek.
I'll take 8 tits for 1,000.
And then he doesn't sell he sets me up for the joke and then doesn't sell it. That's fine. I don't know what that means.
Rob, hope you're feeling better. I'm sorry.
Dude, I appreciate it.
Your
Thank you.
comments, with all due respect, you know me, I'm fucking nuts, but I never not think about you. So I hope you're feeling better too. And thanks for another great night. And fucking love doing this with you guys. Another great night.
Well, thank you too, Johnny. I appreciate you. Fuck you, Ocho. I mean, that's all I got to say about that.
This is kind of what we do.
We're only 14 episodes away from unveiling the master.
The 100.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. We're gonna end the show after that too. We're done. 100 episodes. It's it. We're out of here. Guys, thank you for being here this week. Thank you for all your great insight and questions and chat. And we have the best fans in bowling podcast, right? I mean, it is what it is. Johnny always hangs out with quality people. Ocho, can't say the same for him, but Steelers suck. And
I got people with me. I got my Army buddies.
How do you lose to the Texans, Ocho?
End the show.
Don't worry about that.
End it.
We'll talk about it offline. Guys, we'll see you next week.
The whole store got the flu.
You believe that?
Good night, everybody.
Got the flu.
Good night.
So I wore this ridiculous thing.
For you.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. You can follow the show on Twitter at Straight Up 5 Pod. Follow Johnny Jr. at JPJR07. Follow Rad Rob at Rad Rob Gaming. And follow Dr. Ocho at the Dr. Ocho. Got a question for Johnny? Send your questions to straightup5podcast@gmail.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. Right here on the Rad Rob Radio Network.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.